So I dug out my Gelli plate because I wanted to make some pre-printed pages in my sketchbook just to have a fun background. So I have not done this in a really long time, and I do not claim to be any kind of Gelli plate expert. I'm really just throwing paint on the Gelli plate and then pressing down my Moleskine 4x7 sketchbook and then getting some paint on it. And as per usual, I'm putting a little bit too much paint on here, and I'm just trying to smear it out with my fingers. And another attempt. And I'm using acrylic gouache, both Turner and a few tubes of Holbein acrylic gouache. And just putting a couple colors on the plate. And then proceeding to dab some water on my fingers and then grab the brayer to spread it around a little bit. So what I don't want is those globs, but if I don't get them, then they end up like globs on the page. So now I'm just cleaning off I don't know what this is called. It's like a plastic trowel for like tile when you're doing tile work. So here I'm just lifting up the sketchbook from the page, and I can see that it's still a little bit too dark. I'm trying to take off some of the excess moisture so it doesn't stick to the other page. So I'm attempting again. I didn't put any new color down on the Gelli plate. I just smushed out what was there and just doing another lift. And you can see now that the color is a little bit more subdued, but I put a lot of water on that Gelli plate, so I had to wipe it off. So here's some other pages that I did. Again, some were too much, some were okay. They're a little bit more subdued because I used the leftovers that was left on the plate and just watered it down. This is a glob for sure. That's a big glob. So here's the one that I decided to go ahead and do an illustration on. I'm just grabbing the edge of a watercolor piece of paper to kind of do the scrapey marks that appear on a paper birch tree. This paper birch tree I took a picture of outside of my Airbnb when I went to Alaska. So I'm just trying to put in some branches here with a Derwent Graphite Tint pencil. And yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Probably should edit some of this out or maybe put music over it. So I'm just trying to add in some marks also on the tree and then just more branches. The reference picture looked like a lot of branches, but then a lot of trees. This background worked out really well for this illustration because the background was a lot of leaves. So this kind of lends itself to those leaves already. So sometimes that will work out with these pre-printed pages, and sometimes I end up covering the whole thing really. So here's just some of the branches close up. And now I'm going in and what I'm attempting to do here is to bring in some of the light that you see between the leaves and trees. Didn't quite get it there. Part of that is because I don't have a white gouache in this palette, so I was finding it hard to lighten things up. So that's why I'm trying to dab out. But with the Moleskine paper, you can't really lift out. The paper just kind of sucks the paint in. But that's okay. I really still love these sketchbooks. They're 165 GSM, so not terribly low, but not up to watercolor paper numbers like a 300 GSM sketchbook. So just continuing to put in some little bit of darker leaves to add some contrast here. And again, just filling it up with some leaves here. After a while, I get tired of putting in leaves, and so it's just blobs. But here's the finished, completed illustration. And you can see that pre-printed background in the back is that green and yellow back there. And here's the reference picture one more time of the paper birch and the final illustration on the pre-printed background. I hope you found that a little bit useful. Leave me any questions you might have in the comments, or if you'd like me to do a second one using some different materials. Thank you for watching.